Let's call this a rapid fire Q&A session with Ian, your national trainer from Schwarzkopf Professional. You have questions, I might have some answers. So we're gonna get some commonly asked questions that you've sent to Schwarzkopf Professional, and I'm gonna try and answer them for you as fast as possible. Okay, we have a lot of products: permanent color, demi-permanent color, lighteners. What happens if you buy a liquid developer that comes in a gallon with a skull and crossbones on the front of it? Are you still going to get lift or oxidation? Yeah, but it's not the same as our developers that we've designed to work with the tubes themselves. So while you might get a level 6 red, it might not last as long, it might look hollow, it might not be the exact outcome that you wanted, it might be a level lighter or darker. There's so many variables, just don't. Mixing two lighteners together. We talked about this in another video. Let's say, for example, people like to mix Blonde Me 9+ and they like to mix clay. Clay, up to 7 levels of lift, soft to solid, different technology. 9+, up to 9 levels of lift. There are some hard rules that we don't break. So clay on the scalp, no. Why? Because it forms a shell. And we don't want that on the scalp because then heat can't escape. So if I mix clay with 9+, 9+ is no longer 9+. And then clay is no longer clay. Will I get lift? Yes. Is it predictable and something that we recommend? No. Okay. Every once in a while, there are rules that we are like, this is just a safety thing. No. And then there's rules where we're like, fashion lights on the scalp, it has a much higher alkalinity to be able to kind of diffuse already color-treated hair. So imagine that on the scalp, it might be too intense, so therefore we don't recommend fashion lights on scalp. Vibrance Clear, Igora Vibrance, the Schwarzkopf Professional Igora Vibrance Clear is amazing because if you're gonna use it as a shine treatment by itself, no activator or developer needed. Think about it. It's clear. What pigments are you activating or developing? Vibrance development time is anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. Let's make this question really simple. The less you leave it on, the less you're going to see, and the less it will last. Can I mix Blonde Me toners and Vibrance toners together? I mean, right off the bat, I'm gonna say no, because one is pH neutral and one is on the higher end of the alkalinity scale. They have two different kinds of base pigments that they're made from because they belong to two different brands. Will something happen? Yes. Is that even predictable? I would say no. So manufacturers' recommendations for most of these are gonna be like, we don't recommend it. But for that one, I even still would say no. I love this question. Color 10 goes darker around the hairline, really simple, for the same reason that any color will go darker around the hairline. The hair around the hairline is much finer. And when you put the same amount of color in a smaller strand of hair than what's supposed to go into a regular size strand of hair, think of all that pigment being pushed into a smaller space, it's going to look darker than on a regular size strand of hair in the rest of the head. Color and lightener has come such a long way over the decades. Maybe in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you needed a little heat to kind of amp it up. But I think one of the common complaints now with a lot of lighteners on the market is that some of them lift too much or too fast. So yes, if I add heat to something, is it going to speed it up? Absolutely it will. Am I going to get the best deposit? Maybe not. Am I going to ensure integrity and health of the hair? Maybe not. Am I going to make sure that I'm getting the best longevity? Probably not. Am I going to make sure that the health of the hair is intact after I do this? Probably not. We don't recommend heat. Again, Igora Pigments, Blonde Me Pigments, it's not even it's certainly not apples to apples. Apples to oranges. It's like apples in a fig Newton bar. Like they're not even part of the same family. Like, of course you would get a chemical reaction. What it is, I couldn't tell you. Can I use Vibrance Activators with an Igora Royal color? Yeah. If you had maybe like a situation where you're low lighting and you wanted to do a 6-88, a level 6 red low light on a brunette. If I think 10 volume even would give me a little too much diffusion, you could mix it with the 6 volume lotion just to drop the oxygen just ever so slightly and get ever so slightly more deposit. All right, Igora Royal Fashion Lights, beautiful thing. They're high lift and deposit for virgin hair, of course, but also moderately color treated hair. I use that word very carefully, moderately. Can the fashion lights lift through color? Yeah, it depends on how much color we're talking about though. My go-to is if you've got black box dye color, black dye at all on the hair, you'd have a hard time getting through that with a lightener. So don't put the pressure on fashion lights to deliver for you in a way that you might have trouble with another product as well. So can I add Blonde Me toners to my lightener bowl? My guess is somebody's asking this question because they're looking for tone as you're lifting. No. I would say you could, it's not going to do anything. If anything, the toner pH might affect the lightener pH and lessen the amount of lift. We did launch our Blonde Me Bleach and Tone, which are special pigments that are designed to survive and thrive in a bleach alkaline environment to not only give you tone, but the same amount of lift with predictability rather than just adding other things into your lightener. Applying toner to a damp head of hair can be ideal. One example, if you've got somebody who's got a bleach and tone and there's overlap, meaning there's going to be bands of porosity in the hair, applying a toner on damp hair does kind of help to even out the porosity. Nothing's going to be a perfect story, but any sort of dampness in the hair will kind of act as a porosity equalizer, especially if you're dealing with a toner that is going on delicate blonde hair. It's a great kind of semi-precaution you can use. And that's a wrap for our rapid fire Q&A. If you have any more questions that you feel are a little out of the box or a bit out of the ordinary, feel free to DM us and we'll get back to you here.